Have you ever had a coworker give you feedback that feels more like a right hook to your self-esteem? Suddenly, keeping things professional feels a little less appealing than firing back a witty retort that might land you in HR. But before you unleash that inner diva or Mr. Macho, join me as we learn how to make this ultimate shift from, really, to, oh, okay, when it comes to hearing feedback. Here we go. Hey, I'm Kelsey Taylor with The Working Enneagram, and our channel exists to support you in your journey to boost your self-awareness and master the art of navigating different personalities. Together, we'll turn your work relationships into powerful tools for success, and maybe we'll have a little fun in the process. If that sounds like a journey worth traveling, then hit the subscribe button for instant access to videos just like this one. In my last episode, we explored how the 9 different Enneagram types tend to filter criticism. If you haven't checked it out yet, and you're interested in understanding how your personality might influence how you react to feedback, I highly recommend going back and either watching or listening to that episode first. I have it linked in the description below. Today, we're going to be building on that knowledge by focusing on how to manage those reactions. Remember how in the last episode we discussed how certain types might see criticism as a personal attack? Well, today, we're going to learn how to take that feedback or criticism and turn it into your superpower. But first, let me tell you the story of Gelert, which will help us understand the tragedy of jumping to the wrong conclusion. The Tale of Gelert. Gelert was the dog of Llewellyn the Great, one of Wales' most famous princes. Legend has it that one day Llewellyn went hunting, leaving his newborn son sleeping peacefully in a cradle. When Llewellyn returned from his hunt, the eagerness he once had to see his child completely vanished as he entered the nursery. Llewellyn was shocked at the mess before him, and panic seized him as his gaze found Gelert, his loyal canine with blood on his muzzle. In a flash, a horrifying conclusion took hold. Gelert had killed his child. Consumed by rage and grief, Llewellyn drew his sword and struck down the dog, and after the dying whimper, Llewellyn heard the sound of crying coming from a cradle. He rushed over and saw the child, safe and sound under the overturned cradle, lying beside a dead wolf. The truth dawned on Llewellyn. Gelert had protected his child from the wolf, and Llewellyn's heart broke as he realized what he had done. Do you see how a simple misunderstanding can lead to tragic consequences? Just like Llewellyn, we often jump into wrong conclusions or unhelpful conclusions. And at work, this happens with feedback all the time. We receive information through our own distorted filter, leading to defensiveness, avoidance, even anger. So let's see how jumping to the wrong or an unhelpful conclusion looks like for the Enneagram Type 1. Imagine Enneagram 1s as the guardians of this giant rule book. It's filled with all the shoulds, shouldn'ts, the oughts, and ought not tos. And they have a strong internal compass for what's wrong and what's right. They constantly strive to live up to their own high standards. So when someone offers constructive feedback to a 1, they automatically jump to this unhelpful conclusion that they are not good enough or that they're being criticized. 1s, to avoid misunderstanding the intent of the feedback, try viewing feedback as a way to improve, because improvement is your superpower. It's what you already strive to do. Feedback is the path to a better version of yourself. Let's see what jumping to the wrong conclusion for an Enneagram 2 looks like. Imagine 2s as the ultimate supporters, constantly seeking to make others feel loved and valued, and they thrive on building strong connections and offering help wherever they see a need. So when someone offers constructive feedback, the 2 automatically jumps to this unhelpful conclusion that they're being rejected or that they're not helpful enough. 2s, avoid misunderstanding the heart behind the feedback and try to look at feedback as a way to be more helpful or more supportive, because being a helper is your superpower. It's what you naturally strive to do. Feedback is the path to being a better support to others. Let's see how jumping to wrong conclusions plays out for an Enneagram 3. Now imagine Enneagram 3s as the ultimate go-getters, constantly striving for success and achievement. They thrive on positive recognition and building strong, impressive images. Feedback for 3s can often feel like an attack on their sense of accomplishment. 3s will automatically jump to this unhelpful conclusion that they are somehow a failure. So 3s, I want you to avoid misunderstanding the intent of feedback. Try to look at feedback as a way to be more successful, because growth is your superpower. It's what you are already good at. Feedback is the method by which you become even more successful. Let's see how jumping to the wrong conclusion plays out for an Enneagram 4. Imagine 4s as the creatives of the Enneagram. They're constantly seeking authenticity and a deep sense of connection. They value their unique perspectives, and they can be quite introspective. So when someone offers constructive feedback, the 4 will automatically jump to the unhelpful conclusion that they are inadequate. 4s, to avoid misunderstanding the heart of the feedback, try to look at feedback as a way to grow in your special qualities, because being unique is your superpower. It's something you are naturally gifted at. Feedback is the beautiful and painful path that leads to an even greater depth to your individuality. Let's see how jumping to the wrong conclusion plays out for an Enneagram 5. Imagine Enneagram 5s as the detectives of the Enneagram. Constantly seeking knowledge and understanding, they value independence, and they rely on logic and data to navigate the world. When someone offers constructive feedback, the 5 will automatically jump to the unhelpful conclusion that they are incompetent. 5s, to avoid misunderstanding the intent of feedback, try to view feedback as a way to expand your knowledge base, because gathering information is your superpower. It's a natural proclivity of yours. Feedback is a tool that helps you increase your expertise. Now, that's my advice, but I know 5s love learning and they love open-ended questions. So I'm going to give you 3. What's another way you can respond to feedback? How can you step away from the emotion of the moment? How can you discern if the feedback is even valid? Now I'm going to hit pause on this teaching for just a second to tell you about our Enneagram team workshops. If this information resonates with you and you're thinking, gosh, I wish someone would come to my workplace and talk about all of this stuff, then an Enneagram team workshop is for you. Our workshops will help your team discover their Enneagram type, learn their unique strengths and the strengths of their colleagues, learn to appreciate those viewpoints that are different from theirs, develop effective communication strategies, and build a more cohesive and productive work environment. If you're ready to bring the magic of the Enneagram to your workplace, click the link in the description. Okay, let's see how jumping to the wrong conclusion plays out for the Enneagram 6. Imagine 6s as the strategists of the Enneagram. They are constantly analyzing situations and looking for security. They value loyalty and trust, and they can be very cautious and analytical. When someone offers constructive feedback for the 6, they will automatically jump to the unhelpful conclusion that they are in danger. 6s, to avoid misunderstanding the message of feedback, try to view feedback as a way to make well-informed decisions, because processing information is your superpower. It's what you're already good at. Feedback is the necessary means to make the best possible decision. Let's take a look at how jumping to the incorrect conclusion plays out for the Enneagram 7. Imagine 7s as the explorers of the Enneagram. They are constantly seeking new experiences and avoiding negativity. They thrive on excitement, possibility, and keeping things light. When someone offers constructive feedback, the 7 is automatically going to jump to an unhelpful conclusion that everyone is trying to ruin their fun. 7s, to avoid misunderstanding the heart of feedback, try to view feedback as a way to refine your ideas, because creativity is your superpower. You're naturally good at it. Feedback is an exciting journey to explore new possibilities and to become even more creative. Let's see how jumping to an unhelpful conclusion plays out for the Enneagram 8. Imagine 8s as the protectors of the Enneagram. Fiercely independent and direct, they value strength, justice, and being in control. When someone offers constructive feedback, the 8 automatically jumps to an unhelpful conclusion that they are being threatened. 8s, to avoid misunderstanding the intent of feedback, try to view the feedback as a way to adapt and become stronger, because strength is your superpower. It's a natural gift of yours. Feedback is a tool that can help you overcome your weaknesses. Finally, let's take a look how jumping to the wrong conclusion plays out for the Enneagram 9. Imagine 9s as the peacekeepers of the Enneagram. They seek harmony and they work to avoid conflict at all costs. They value connection, going with the flow, and maintaining a sense of calm. When someone offers constructive feedback, the 9's automatically going to jump to this unhelpful conclusion that the relationship with the other person is ending. 9s, to avoid misunderstanding the message of the feedback, try to view feedback as a way to understand another viewpoint without feeling obligated to agree. Because understanding others is your superpower. You are naturally good at it. Feedback is the necessary means to deeper harmony and peace. I find it helpful to remember that feedback is often meant to offer a different perspective or suggest an improvement. But if you still struggle with getting defensive, like I do, I would suggest practicing the repeat back method. The repeat back method works like this. When someone gives you feedback, you simply repeat back what you heard to make sure you understand the message correctly. Here's why this works. When we feel threatened, our brain moves into that fight or flight response. And in this part of the brain, you are disconnected from the logical part of the brain. When you take a moment to repeat back what they said, it slows down your fight and flight response so that you have time to move from that survival instinct part of the brain back into the decision-making part of the brain. Now, this is really hard to remember in the moment, so your cue to practice this repeat back method is when you start to feel defensive. Alrighty, folks, that is a wrap on our crash course in turning feedback into your superpower. Remember, embrace the feedback, grow from it, and keep shining in the workplace. Thanks for tuning in to the Working Enneagram channel.